For what?
Cancer research.
Alex Scott raised money with a lemonade stand to help her doctors find treatments for children with cancer.
Alex's lemonade!
Now, the movement she started
Oh, thank you.
is making that dream into a reality.
We're really on the precipice of a new era in pediatric cancer research.
I've never been more hopeful that we can cure all kids with cancer.
And that hope is contagious.
The first thing I saw was an Alex's Lemonade story. It just gave us tremendous hope.
I've been having lemonade stands and meeting kids like me.
Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation is changing lives.
I'm brave and I'm strong and I can do hard things.
Alex's Lemonade Stand is critical to all these endeavors.
You had your scans last week, and what did the scans say?
No more medicine. It's helping people.
And that is what Alex Scott wanted to do, help people. I'm Yuki Washington. Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation funds hundreds of research projects and helps nearly 30,000 families dealing with a pediatric cancer diagnosis. Amazing to think it all started with that little girl and her lemonade stand.
Alex was born almost 6 weeks early. She was over 7 pounds.
She had a full head of hair and she was not shy.
Pretty vocal from the minute she was born. It's like such a sign, right, of her personality. She would need that determination and will to just kind of like make her voice heard. She seemed like she wanted to play and crawl around, but she would try, and I just kept saying, she seems like she's in pain. Something's bothering her. You know, sporadic fevers, not sleeping well at all. She was losing weight, and I remember thinking, something is wrong.
You know, mothers always know their kids better than anyone.
We were persistent. We brought her to the doctor 12 times in 9 weeks. They ran blood work and said her blood work looked fine. And he said, well, you need to accept the fact that you have an unhappy child.
And we got in the car and brought her to the Children's Hospital.
Their reaction was, clearly there's something going on.
When we told them that both grandmothers, who had a lot of kids between the two of them, thought something was wrong, they kept her overnight based upon the grandmother's thoughts that something was wrong with her.
And then they did an MRI.
When you see doctors going in and coming out, it's like a revolving door of doctors. They told us this was going to be an hour, it's been 2 hours, it's been 3 hours.
Just getting this like rising sense of panic. It's still hard to think about. The receptionist came out and gave us a box of tissues and said the doctor wants to talk to you in the conference room. And at that point, I was just terrified.
Yeah, they told us that she had a tumor in her abdomen wrapped around her spine. They weren't sure what kind of cancer, but they said it was bad.
She was in surgery by the end of that week to remove this massive tumor. She went into the surgery the day before her first birthday. They had confirmed it was probably neuroblastoma, and now she wasn't responding to anything from her chest down. She was paralyzed from the chest down. They told us that she would never walk, and I thought, if she beats her cancer, what kind of life is she gonna have? What kind of life is she gonna have? She felt better when she woke up than she had before the surgery, so she was happy. She was smiling, she was joking.
I mean, she would just smile, she was so happy.
And that gave us so much hope that we're on the right track, and whatever happens, she can have a great life.
Goodbye.
Her attitude was so incredible because she really made the most of any day that she was feeling good.
And she started regaining movement in one leg and then started in the other leg.
The way Alex approached learning to walk, despite being told she would never walk, was really a good example of who she was in her life.
Mommy.
I know. She would work hard with that physical therapist. She would take those steps and she would be screaming through every one of them. And she said she had a goal of walking, and eventually she did it against all odds. She still had no sensation in her legs, and she was considered partially paralyzed. She had 3 back-to-back surgeries, when she was 3 years old to try to remove these tumors that were growing.
And so we started by watching it, and it grew back, and they operated again, and it grew back.
Alex is in for her 3rd treatment. We were shocked and devastated when the doctor in Connecticut told us all the tumors were back. We were faced with what was considered incurable cancer. We found Children's Hospital Philadelphia, who had a new targeted therapy. We came down, she went in for 3 days, and she came out of the hospital just smiling.
She said that the treatment had worked, and she could tell by the way she felt.
It was such a turning point for her and for our family. She started talking about having a lemonade stand and didn't say why she wanted to have one. We had never really discussed doing a lemonade stand. And I said, what do you want to buy so badly that you need to have a lemonade stand? And she said, I'm not keeping the money, I'm giving it to my doctors so they can help kids the way they helped me. Once she said why she wanted to do the stand, we got moving on it.
She laid out her clothes the night before. She had her Cheerios poured in the bowl because she didn't want to take too much time the next day.
And I said, Alex, you're going to raise $5 or $10. She said, I don't care, I'll do it anyways. The Hartford Courant did a little story about this little girl fighting cancer having a lemonade stand to help other kids. I've been wanting to raise money for them for a while.
That was my idea.
Right. She raised $2,000 that day. So at the end of the day, I said, what did you think, Alex? And she said, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. The best opportunity for Alex to get access to the treatments that we needed would be to move to Philadelphia. So we moved to Philadelphia in the spring, and Alex started talking about having her lemonade stand.
Over here.
But we didn't want her to be disappointed that no one would come because we didn't know anyone here. That second lemonade stand, she was wearing a winter hat and mittens because it was a cold fall day. And she did like $800, which is a pretty good lemonade stand, but she wasn't happy because it was less than the first one.
When life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Then the next spring, the newspaper did a story about her upcoming stand, and they put her address in. And before she even opened, she had already raised $2,000 from people sending donations.
Please come to my lemonade stand.
And that was the year where her stand really exploded.
Man, did people come to that stand.
She raised, I think, $12,000. It was just incredible. She was very happy. She was exhausted. All the stations ran a story about Alex and her lemonade stand.
I raise money
For what?
cancer research
And why is that important to you?
because it's helping people.
That apparently got picked up nationally and all over the country.
The crazy thing was we would get letters that would be addressed to things like the Lemonade Girl, United States, and somehow the post office would find our house and deliver that mail.
And she started getting letters from other kids primarily who heard about what she did and decided they could have a lemonade stand.
My friends helped me
Why is that?
because I wasn't feeling good.
The next year it rained, it poured rain the day of her stand, and she did 18,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I remember one guy, he said, I just feel like something amazing is happening.
So by 2004, she's now 8 years old. She had raised over $100,000.
I feel good.
You feel
And
good?
I feel bad sometimes.
Her cancer was really not in a good place. It had metastasized to her lungs and her liver, and there was no turning back at that point.
What's the worst part of going to the hospital?
Everything.
So we weren't talking about having a lemonade stand as a family, but she told a reporter,
What's the goal of this year's lemonade stand?
$1 million.
she was going to raise $1 million.
We thought that she was crazy. Alex, how could you tell somebody that your goal is $1 million? She brought us back to reality and said, listen, I think if people continue to help me the way they have been, I think I can do it.
It became this call to action.
Alex's lemonade. Oh, thank you.
Jay got a call.
When I hung up, Alex said, who wants to interview me? I said, don't worry about it. You gotta get out of the hospital. She said, just tell me who it is. And when I told her Oprah, she said, are you crazy? Yeah, it's Oprah we're talking about. And yeah, so she went on. She was sick.
Alex, what's the most expensive cup of lemonade you've ever sold?
$500.
For a cup?
She thought it was important, and really that
Thanks.
really changed things for her movement.
Again, very short notice, got a call from the Today Show. They wanted to feature Alex, and she went on.
It makes me feel good that I'm helping people.
She was asked, will you come back next year and show us the $1 million?
Yeah, hopefully.
I think she knew. That's when we knew that she knew. And the same day that she had her stand in June, there were stands all over the country, all over the world. It was inspiring not just to see her holding on, to see her goal met, but to see how so many other people made it happen for her.
When we told Alex that she was going to hit her $1 million goal, in true Alex fashion, she was grateful. You know, she clapped her hands a couple of times.
But those last few weeks were especially hard. I was not focused on her reaching her goal. I was really focused on making her happy, facing something that we didn't want to face. You know, knowing we were going to have to say goodbye to her. That's the hardest thing you ever do.
As we're driving to the hospital, I said, Alex, I am so sorry. And she said, what for? And I said, for everything you have to go through. And she said, if there's one thing you should know about me by now, it's that I'm grateful for the things I have, and I don't miss the things I don't have. It made the hair on the back of my neck stick up, gave me chills.
We were able to tell her she would reach her goal. She died 10 days later.
The outpouring after she died was even greater than when she was alive.
We didn't immediately think we're gonna continue this. We kept hearing from other people who were sending us emails daily saying, we're gonna keep doing lemonade stand.
And among those people was a lot of childhood cancer families who saw hope in what Alex was doing. And so although it would have been easier to just move on, we think the right thing to do was to continue what she started. She taught kids that they can make a difference. You know, there's literally kids that are alive today because of things that we have funded.
If you'd have told me then that everybody involved with Alex's has raised over $250 million, I would probably have laughed, and thought, like with a lemonade stand.
You can help move Alex's dream closer to reality. Donate now. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen or text CBS Alex, all one word, to 44321. Go to cbsalex.com or you can Venmo at Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation. Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation funds research and clinical trials that aim to give children safer treatments and hopefully cures. The foundation also provides family support with the Travel for Care Fund that helps families get to much needed treatment, and the Super Sibs program, which provides siblings of cancer patients the support they need as well. Bill Kelly has the story of one family who is benefiting from all three.
Owen is a typical 3-year-old. As you can see, he gave his mom and dad a run for their money.
Cars and trains and dinosaurs.
His mom says he's a total boy. Flashback to a year and a half ago, and things were pretty different.
A couple months after learning to walk, he was still struggling with tripping, instability, and just making me a little nervous. One day he was eating lunch and I was watching him and he could not use his left arm. So we went to the ER and they did a brain CT scan and came and told us about a very large right-sided brain tumor. I think I had probably my very first panic attack. I was breathless, my fingers were numb, and it was just, you can't control your crying in that moment, worry and dread.
Surgery removed the tumor, but Owen still needed proton therapy.
So for 30 days, 6 weeks, Monday through Friday, he would go in daily and be sedated and have radiation done.
Because he had leftover cancer cells that they still could be lingering in there from the tumor left over, and hopefully the radiation would kill the rest of that off.
Owen was cancer-free for 3 months. The cancer returned, and it had spread. The new diagnosis? Leptomeningeal disease. Cancer cells were in the membranes around his brain.
there is no known cure for when his type of brain cancer spreads like that.
Right now, Owen is in a clinical trial funded by Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation. The treatment seems to be working.
We are very thankful for that funding to this clinical trial because we don't know what would be here if they weren't funding it. I don't know what it would look like without their support.
And even more support from Alex's Travel for Care Fund. The family travels to Georgia from Oklahoma for treatment every 4 weeks.
We are immensely thankful because financially, I don't know if we would have been able to sustain, flying out monthly.
Their other son, Walker, is part of Alex's Super Sibs program.
The Super Sibs, I think, is amazing because it puts something special for them.
You can help fund those services. Donate now by scanning that QR code right there on your screen or text CBS Alex, all one word, to 44321. Go to cbsalex.com or you can Venmo at Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation. A pediatric cancer diagnosis affects the entire family. For the Tauk family, it means stress from the cancer and subsequent side effects of treatment. It means a show of life-saving brotherly love. And it means that they fight the battle together until they win. Siafa Lewis has their story.
This is Kabir Tauk. He's a smart, happy, inquisitive, food and video game loving 11-year-old. Kabir was only 4 when he was diagnosed with a high-risk form of leukemia known as Philadelphia chromosome-positive acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
The morning he was diagnosed, I was actually crying by his bedside around 4 in the morning because I was really feeling frustrated that we didn't know what was going on with him. He was not getting better.
I remember my legs hurting so much that I couldn't fall asleep. I got very scared when we went to the hospital. No odds were in my favor. And not many odds have been in my favor for my whole life.
That's not Kabir feeling sorry for himself. It's this stark reality of the life he's led since that cancer diagnosis in 2017. That reality initially consisted of a 2.5-year course of treatment for Kabir.
It takes more strength than imaginable to drive your child to chemotherapy when you know, yes, it's medicine, but it's also like poison running through their veins.
Kabir's treatment ended, and it was a success until it wasn't. Kabir relapsed in July 2019 and then again 6 months later, and a third time in July 2020 during the pandemic. Each instance called for more aggressive treatment and with it, side effects. The pain and the problems he's faced and endured are literally too long to list.
And now he has this disease that we don't even know what it is.
Of course, mom and dad, tireless and selfless as they are, have been by his side every step of the way. But so has his younger brother, Ion, who is 9. He volunteered to donate his bone marrow to Kabir.
There was 2 options that we could take, but we knew which one was the better option. It was either the bone marrow transplant or that we just let Kabir die. I didn't want to let him die.
Talk about brotherly love. Their bond was fostered by their parents. During our Zoom, Kabir was dealing with an unbearable headache. His parents are staunch supporters of Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation and have raised over $100,000 for the organization. They've even launched a tea company, and they donate a portion of sales of a special blend honoring Alex back to the foundation.
It's really important that charities like Alex's get more funding so that children who are getting treatment are getting better treatment with less toxicity.
There's this saying that Kabir used to love during the cancer.
If you mess with one of us,
you mess with all of us.
We've been talking about hope. Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation aims to give families just that. So we want to leave you with a very hopeful and uplifting story. One of a young lady who proves that a cancer diagnosis may be part of who you are, but it isn't everything. Kate Bilo has her story.
Gratitude, joy, blessed. Those aren't words you expect to hear from a childhood cancer family.
I remember thinking wow, we're lucky.
But that's the Adkins family's mantra. They consider themselves lucky. Lucky their daughter is alive and thriving. You might say thriving and inspiring.
I think of it as I want to help others because others help me.
Let's take you back to the beginning, when Lily was just 13 months old. Her parents thought she had a stomach bug, but after several trips to the pediatrician, life changed.
And she looked right at us and she was crying already. And she was like, I'm gonna make the call to CHOP. You're gonna go right to the ER. Don't feed her anything more. And she used this word glioma that we had never heard of before. And she's like, a lot of childhood gliomas are really treatable. And I was like, what? And even then I was like, I don't know what that means.
Things got even worse at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Lily was diagnosed with a brain tumor, ependymoma.
I remember thinking let's run, let's go, let's get away, this is not, I don't want to be here.
There was surgery, tumor removal, a shunt placed to drain fluid. That shunt would fail twice. There's a possibility it could happen again. But cancer certainly does not define Lily.
Rowing is honestly just there's no care in the world. You don't have to care about what's happening on land, anything. You're just on the water. And if you're not focusing, well, you're gonna fall in. So you have to focus on that and only that.
She's a rower for the South Jersey Rowing Club and just received a scholarship to row for Division II Dominican University in New York. Lily will be a para-rower, and she wants to show other young people with disabilities that they can be athletes too.
From Lily, who couldn't walk, to seeing her now pursuing the sport she loves, rowing, and not just pursuing rowing, but embracing her disability and her difference and using that to lead. I think she's adapted her whole life, and to show how that adaptation doesn't make her weak, it makes her strong.
She'll major in special education.
And I really want to help kids learn the way they learn and not the way some teacher or principal said they have to.
The whole family wants to teach people too about Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation. Trish met Liz when Lily was first diagnosed at CHOP.
We ended up having a lemonade stand not that long after.
In fact, in 2015, the Adkins broke the world record for largest cup of lemonade. Despite all they've been through, it all comes back to their motto. They are one lucky family.
We are really lucky, and I think that's the difference between the before and the after. I don't think before I realized how much good there was in the world.
Alex Scott, a stand for hope. I'm Yuki Washington. For all of us here at CBS Philadelphia, thank you. Thank you for watching.